Manafort under surveillance. CNN has learned that investigators wiretapped former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort under secret court order, both before and after the 2016 election. And that surveillance continued into this year, including a period when Manafort wasn't working for the campaign, but was known to talk with President Donald Trump. Pamela Brown, Evan Perez, and Shimon Prokupez broke this story, and they are out front tonight. So much to ask all of you as this breaks. So, Evan, let's just start off with the bottom line here. What are you learning tonight?
Well, Aaron, sources tell us that the FBI got permission from the Secretive Surveillance Court to monitor Paul Manafort, the former Trump campaign chairman, before and after the election. Now, this is an extraordinary step for the FBI to do surveillance on a high-ranking campaign official. And, of course, Manafort is now at the center of the Russia meddling investigation. We're told that there are intercepted communications that raise concerns about whether Manafort was encouraging the Russians to help with the campaign. Now, other sources told us that this intelligence was not conclusive enough. Now, Special Counsel Robert Mueller's team has been provided all of these communications, Aaron.
So, Evan, when you say encouraging, Manafort encouraging Russians to help with the campaign, obviously the weight of everything is on that word encouraging. What do you mean by it?
Right. There's a lot we don't know about exactly what was said. And by the way, this is beyond just wiretaps. It's also surveillance of all kinds, including searches that the FBI is authorized to do. But we're told that the FBI has communications between suspected Russian operatives relaying what they claimed were discussions with Manafort, as well as communications involving Manafort. None of this has amounted to what people consider a smoking gun in this investigation. There's still more work being done to determine whether there's a criminal violation here. We didn't get a comment from Paul Manafort's spokesman, but Manafort has previously denied that he ever knowingly communicated with Russian intelligence operatives during the election. He's also denied helping Russia undermine the U.S. interests, Aaron.
So, Pamela, you're reporting here that Paul Manafort has been monitored not once, but twice.
That's right, Aaron. So our team is told that the secret order began after Manafort became the subject of an FBI investigation in 2014. We previously reported that centered on work done by a group of Washington consulting firms for Ukraine's former ruling party, our sources say. And the surveillance was discontinued at some point last year for lack of evidence, according to one of the sources. And then the FBI restarted the surveillance after obtaining a new FISA warrant that extended at least into early this year. The sources say the second warrant was part of the FBI's efforts to investigate ties between Trump campaign associates and suspected Russian operatives. Now, it is unclear when that new warrant started. And as part of the FISA warrant, we've learned, Aaron, that earlier this year, the FBI conducted a search of a storage facility belonging to Paul Manafort. And as you'll recall, this past July, under Robert Mueller's direction, the FBI raided his home in Virginia.
And of course, we knew that, but as part of what you're breaking tonight, that raid of the storage facility, obviously new information. We didn't know we had a storage facility until this hour, and we didn't know that they had raided it. So that's also very significant. Shimon, do you know, though, whether President Trump spoke to Manafort while he was under surveillance? That, of course, could be crucial here as well.
Yeah, exactly, Aaron, extremely crucial. But what we do know and what we've been told by sources is that the president and Manafort were still talking early this year, well after the campaign. And it is a time that we've learned the FBI was listening to Manafort's phone calls. So it is possible that those phone conversations were collected during that surveillance as they were listening to them. So that we don't have a specific answer for, but it is possible, Aaron.
All right, which is a crucial point. And of course, the president had said vocally again and again that he was wiretapped and that he meant that to mean not just phones, but all kinds of surveillance. Was he right?
Well, not exactly. So we do know that, and the Justice Department has spoken out about this, and they have denied that the president's own lines were wiretapped. But as we said, it is possible that he was picked up on Manafort surveillance. We should know that Manafort does have a residence in Trump Tower, but it is not clear if the FBI did surveillance on Manafort at Trump Tower. Aaron.
So Pam, what does this mean, all of this, for the Mueller investigation? As you and Evan point out, he now is in possession of whatever came from this wiretap.
Right. He is in possession. It is in his hands. And the Paul Manafort investigation has been really the most visible investigation under Robert Mueller. The special counsel started in May. And there we know that there was a raid on his storage facility before Robert Mueller took over. But then you have that raid this past July. It's unclear if those stemmed from any of the intelligence that was gathered under the FISA warrant. But it is clear that investigators are still very interested into Paul Manafort under the direction of Robert Mueller, Aaron.
And Evan, a couple questions here. One, obviously, Manafort for some time with all of this focus, I'm sure, has been careful in what he says and how he communicates. But do you know if this surveillance is still ongoing in any way? And what is the significance that they were able to get this crucial FISA warrant to do it?
Well, we don't know exactly when the timeline of this surveillance, whether it has ended, whether it is continuing to this day. But look, the fact that they were able to get a FISA warrant is a big deal. The fact is that this has to get approval from the highest levels of the Justice Department and the FBI before agents can carry out this type of surveillance. It's considered so intrusive that you almost never find out that these FISA warrants are authorized, Aaron. And then the other thing is that you have to present proof or suspicions that someone is acting as an agent of a foreign power. All of this goes into providing the paperwork that these judges then have to approve before allowing the FBI to do this type of surveillance. It's very intrusive work.
Very intrusive work and obviously very not easy to get, really hard to get, as you all point out. All right, thank you so much, Shimon, Evan, Thanks. Pamela.